Don't frazzle my It's the Woodworking Morning Show.
It's a good song.
Shaking your booty.
It's my favorite. That's my jam, Nicole, as the kids say. That's my jam.
That's my jam.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday.
It is Friday. Good
It's
morning.
the morning show.
And I'm Nicole.
I'm Mark. I see you have my new nose picker here.
Hey, no, those are for my hair.
What's the
They're
difference?
hair ties.
What's the difference?
Well, since you're bringing it
There's
attention
hair
to
up there, too.
I just wanted to say thank you to I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Connell. He's at Right-Handed Creations, WRIGHT. And I bought...
Clever. Is that the person's name?
No,
Right?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Connell, yes, his last name's
That would
Right.
make sense, Nicole.
That makes sense.
Alrighty.
So he's on Instagram at Right Hand Creations, so Instagram.com Right Hand Creations. But I ordered these adorable little spoons. I thought they were going to be bigger. I'm sorry, I didn't read. But I love them.
They're baby spoons.
They're so cute.
Come here, baby Ava.
I want to give them to let Ava use them.
Here's your pureed carrots.
But I would actually love it if you made these bigger, because then I would totally use these as serving spoons.
They're pretty
And
cool.
These are awesome hair ties that I haven't yet figured out how to.
Nose pickers.
Nose pickers.
If you make them with like a slightly thinner connection here, you can get a little more flex in there. Little shop tweezers
Get
and nose
out
pickers.
of here. And then he sent me a very thoughtful fidget stone.
Can I fidget with that during the show?
That's the idea. You hold it and you rub it.
Well, stop being so greedy. Give it to me.
So,
It says
Connell, I
breathe.
just wanted to say thank you for that.
I'm going to fidget
Even
this
though
thing.
I ordered him, he has an awesome Etsy store. So check him out if you're looking for hairpins, spoons. I don't know if he does the fidget stones, but you should. Because everybody has a little bit of anxiety nowadays.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's going on?
Oh,
Hey,
you know,
look, we got a little friend.
just hanging out.
We got a little friend.
Oh, look at that. Tommy Silva. He's come to say hi. Hey, everybody. Watch this old house. We have festool stuff. Yay!
It was one of those Facebook ads that showed up, and I'm like, that's cute. I'm
That's
going to
great.
get that for Father's Day.
I love those guys. You know, I was actually in the same place at the same time with Tom,
Yes, I
And
was with you.
but I didn't say anything to him.
Yeah, you
I was
were
a
a little nervous.
I get nervous around people
That's
who
all
I
right.
admire. So
Yeah.
this old
So,
house.
so
Can't
we
beat that.
decided to buy his bobblehead and put him in the shop
Yeah.
where he's watching over us.
I'll put him back here. So you
Yeah.
know what? We'll put him next to the Vault Tech guy.
There you go.
From, there we go.
Yep.
From Fallout.
2 bobbleheads.
All right.
Sheldon can just move over.
Move over, Sheldon.
Get over here, Claptrap.
You moved him out of his favorite spot. He's gonna be upset now.
Wallowitz. There
Hey,
we
you
go.
know what?
What?
You know we have a Patreon thing.
Hey, we do. We do.
So if you want to help support the show, you can do that. It's at patreon.com/WoodWhisperer. I want to thank David Archibald, Alex Streff, and Ian Gagnon, or Gannon.
I think
Maybe
yeah.
the G and the N kind of blend to
Yeah, I
be
think it's
Gannon,
maybe Gannon.
which is also a character from...
Zelda.
Correct. Very cool. My brother's name is Ian, by the way.
Yeah.
I probably say that every time Ian does something
Maybe.
that comes across our path. So anyway, thank you everybody for helping support the show. You can also help out and get some rewards in return for that. And again, that's patreon.com/woodwhisperer.
You know, one of those rewards is I put a question out to the Patreon people, usually about 2 or 3 days before we go live. And we get a bunch of questions that are preloaded.
That's fantastic.
But I also take them in the chat too. So,
Yep.
Jason, I just saw your question and I'm putting it in my notebook.
So a couple reminders real quick here. We've got the Slapback Bed Project. That's in the Guild.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right? That is coming up a week from today. That's when the videos will drop, and you'll be able to watch them from beginning to end.
I love it.
Binge it all weekend if you want to.
Netflix style.
Yeah, and this is on a pre-order discount, about 30% off. And I want to make sure you guys know something very important today. We're going to give one of those away.
Woo.
Not the bed,
Not the bed.
but the project.
We've actually had people order the projects and go, "Where's my
The bread box.
Where's my bread box?"
The bread box is a good example of something people order,
Like-
expecting like months later, they're
Yeah.
like,
Where's
I'm
that?
really upset. I have not received any notification about shipment of my bread box. It's like,
Like,
Not sure how we can make it clear, but we'll try to. We'll be better.
Sorry.
Anyway, so we are going to pick a winner in today's show, and
Chicken
we'll also
dinner.
pick a regular guild winner that we usually do, right? Where they can pick a project. So someone's going to get the pick, and someone's going to get the back, the platform bed.
Oh, Connell's in the chat room. He says the fidget is a fidget chip.
Fidget chip.
And he's offering anybody. You can email him. He'll send him one.
This is great.
I like it.
It's you know what it feels like? It feels like
It's contoured to your hand.
well, it feels like silly putty.
Yeah.
When you get silly putty and you flatten it out, and then you do this with your hands, but it's a piece of wood. It's stiff.
Yeah.
But this is the exact shape that silly putty would take on
So
if you were to do that.
I just lost my fidget chip.
Thank you for the fidget chip, Connell. Okay, one more announcement
What's
here.
it?
Let's see. So my mom wanted to make sure everybody knows.
Oh yeah, your mom's back in Jersey for a little bit.
The store.
She's trying to unload the store.
Yeah, she's trying to unload all the stuff. She's got tons of boxes of books, stuff she's trying to lighten the shipping load as she drives back to Colorado. So we have some hardcover books still to go. If you guys want to buy the hardcover version of Essential Joinery, that is available. Nicole, you want to give them the link for this stuff?
I will.
It's at the woodwhisperer.com/store.
With every order, you get also our new sticker.
Oh yeah, we got a new sticker. So that's pretty cool.
Or you could just get them on, have them
Nice and sleek.
standalone too.
Of course, so we have the paperback version. This is why I always keep a copy that gets mangled and jacked up.
Is this the one Ava did?
Yeah, this is you can't really see it too well on the camera
Yeah.
because it's too bright. But
It's bright.
yeah, I know. I have the setting a little too high. Anyway, Essential Joinery, both hard and soft. And then the classic, the Woodworkers Classic, as of like 6 years ago, is hybrid woodworking. All those are available in the store. Also, this is not the exact, this was like a prototype, but our mouse scrapers are back in stock as well. They look something like this. You want to get those because those are great. I love those scrapers. So yeah, lots of stuff in the store. Go check it out. Do us a favor and lighten Mama's load.
Yeah.
Because she's going to have to bring all that stuff over here.
Kevin Windsor, you made me laugh. I didn't intend to dye my hair red. This is a COVID dye job.
Damn, baby, what'd you do to your hair? Do you like it, Orlando? It's autumn sunrise.
So not really intentional.
Okay. Guild project to whoever gets that movie first.
Okay.
It's autumn sunrise.
Damn, baby.
My brother and I have no idea why. We used to quote that back and forth to each other, and I sent him a text this week, and I was like, "It's autumn sunrise," and I
Yeah.
took a picture of it,
Oh,
and he knew
hair.
exactly what I was
my
talking
hair,
about.
yeah, I'm a disaster right
It's
now.
so great, though.
Right.
It looks good.
Okay,
Looks good on you, Nicole.
thanks.
Anything else we have to get out of the way before we answer
I just
questions?
one more question. I just wanted to say thank you to James Berlin over at Woodlife 1122 LLC.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Connecticut, and I ordered some cutting boards from. I already given one away, so I'm
great.
only showing. I love this one.
Yeah, it's
this
nice.
is such a cool
Nice, like
pattern.
brick pattern.
So he sells his stuff
Yeah.
on Etsy as well under Woodlife 1122. If you'd like to check him out.
Get
He
that
also
wood
has-
life, yo.
So I just wanted to say thanks, James.
Okay, guess who got it first? It looks like Ness.
Ness got it.
Yeah, Ness G, our good buddy,
Nice.
down under-ish.
She just says ghost. No. She said ghost.
Yeah.
Is it ghost?
What's the? You know.
I thought it was Ghostbusters.
No.
Oh, it is ghost.
Oh my gosh. What's
That's
wrong
right.
with you?
That's right. When
Whoopi Goldberg is channeling the woman's husband.
Yes, that is ghost. Ness.
Blues Brothers. Yeah, Ness, you got it. Awesome. Good job.
Email me.
It's autumn sunrise.
See, even I forgot.
If you guys
which
want to
one.
Google that, there is a clip on YouTube. Just Google autumn sunrise and you'll find it. It's fantastic. All right, let's get to some questions here. Jeff Barry says, how do you stay focused on one project at a time in the shop? I get so distracted and sometimes working on 3 or 4 at a time, getting a little bit done on each. I have written them down in my notebook and try to prioritize them, but I have several going before that, and now I feel like I have to get done, along with a job and trying to spend time with my family. You know, that might be one of the differences. I mean, I was going to initially answer this and just say, well, it's part of your personality. Some people are multitaskers and some people are unitaskers. I'm one of those people who really excels when I focus on one thing and get that thing done, and then I move on to the next thing. If I have too many balls in the air at once, I find it very stifling, and I actually will go slower. I'm one of those people who multitasking is a myth, right?
You
I
do
can
not-
do
You don't do good.
yeah,
with
I can do
multitasking.
multiple things at once, but it will take me a lot longer to get those things done than if I simply worked on each thing in succession, finished each task, and then got it all done. I'll be much faster, and the result will be better because I'm not splitting my attention. So
I have to say, you've influenced me that way.
Yeah.
I used to be very fractured. I still am a bit, but I really try to focus on just finishing.
yeah, do it, get it done right, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So in your case, though, one difference may not just be simply a personality thing. It may be the fact that you do have a job. You probably have a lot more time away from the shop than I have, for instance. So it's a little harder for you. During your away time, you may come up with other ideas and get inspired by different things that you want to attempt when you go into the shop. But ultimately, it's going to come down to discipline, right? You know how to do one project at a time. Your urge to go into the shop and do something else, well, smack yourself in the head and say, don't do that, self. Just go in and focus on the project you're working on. It's just going to be a self-discipline thing. Easier said than done for some people, but I think once you see the rewards of going through and completing a task before starting the next one, you'll be on board.
Get on board.
Get on board.
Roach Farmer in the chat room
Well,
did a super
I
chat.
would love to know a little more about that name.
Said, is it Roach or Roch?
It could be Rock. It's R-O-C-H.
Yeah, Roch.
So it could be
It
Rock
was
or
probably not
Roche.
Roche.
You know, when I lived in New Jersey, kind of felt like a roach farmer sometimes. There were times in our basement where I kind of had a collection.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
watch them, make their little houses.
Give them like little.
Yeah, I had one. I named
little
him.
fence.
I named him Gary. I gave him a little top hat. It was fun.
Hello, my baby. He said, happy to catch you guys live. A little something for Mark's barbecue addiction.
What?
You have no idea.
It's kind of gotten out of control.
It's kind of spiraling into a logo now.
Look, I've been interested in barbecue for a long time, right? It's always been, at least almost through most of our marriage, it's been a hobby of mine, and it comes and goes, like hobbies do. And lately, it's just kicked up a notch. And now, yeah, I might even have a logo going. I don't know what's happening. And here's my tagline, right?
Yeah.
You guys will get the reference. It's going to be TWW Barbecue. It's the wood that makes it good. There's another reference for you. And just a high five to someone who knows that reference.
So we do have a Facebook group of woodworkers who are also barbecue enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So if you would like to join
A lot
said
of
group,
crossover there.
it's just a group. It's facebook.com/groups/TWWBBQ. It's actually a very active group.
Yeah.
I'm trying to manage it by creating those topics.
Sure.
So like
Well, good luck with that.
recipes
Yeah.
and pork butt. Everybody likes to show off their pork butt.
Rock Farmer says it is pronounced rock,
Oh,
by the way.
sorry.
But let's go with Roach, because I'm sure he loves that.
Sorry.
All right.
What's the character named Roach? Was it on
There's
Growing
a-
Pains?
No, that's
No.
Boner.
That was Boner.
Yeah.
What?
And Roach is the horse's name in The Witcher.
But there was a TV show. I'm pretty sure the side friend was Roach.
Probably. Was it The
yeah.
Cosby Show?
Maybe it was one of those 80s.
It might have been The Cosby Show, and maybe it wasn't Roach. Cockroach. was his
Cockroach!
name. Yeah, and it was a Cosby
It was
Show.
no, that was Bud.
No, that was the little girl's friend was Bud. Cockroach was Theo's friend.
Okay.
Why is this even in my brain, Nicole? I haven't thought about.
Cosby Show.
I told you, I haven't
Oh
thought
my
about The
God.
Cosby Show probably since
Theo
the
and-
last time I watched it.
Theo and Cockroach.
I told you his name's Cockroach. Man, you don't want to challenge my 80s TV knowledge,
The
apparently.
names of the friends were
Cockroach, Boner.
Boner. What?
I don't know how they
Bud.
got away with Boner.
Yeah, right.
What's wrong with Bud? There's probably 10 people in his chat room named Bud. Right now.
Probably.
All right, let's do Black Goat Woodworking's question. I've seen you spray General Finishes milk paint on several projects from your Fuji system. Do you have any other paints that you would that you like and get good results? I've tried latex. It just takes so much thinning to get an appropriate amount of run-out time. Some people seem to use Sherwin-Williams Chem Aqua, but apparently I can't get it in my area because of VOCs. Okay, here's the thing, Black Goat. Not a great answer for you today. I don't really paint very much. So when I do, I tend to rely on things that I'm comfortable with. That doesn't mean that General Finishes milk paint is the best solution for all the times that I've used it. It just means I know it's sort of a known quantity. I know what results I can get from it. I know how to make it work, so I use it. So there are great paints out there if you explore that world. It's not a world I'm familiar with, so I don't have great advice for you. Sherwin-Williams products, I can say I have used a lot of their top coats, some of their tinted lacquers and stuff in the past. So if I were to go into that world of paint, I probably would start there. That seems like a decent solution, but can't help you with general paint advice.
Jason Spenny has a question. Going to start the Roubo, and in one of the original videos, you expressed concern about the round dog holes getting chewed up, but then you update it. Then you update it with your do round holes today. What's that? Do
Probably an article or something.
Any bad luck with round dog holes in soft maple? Would you use hard maple for just the dog strips and add to durability?
I wouldn't think about it. I think in soft maple, it's hard enough, you're going to be fine. That is one of those things when you're listing, when you're making an article or talking to people online, you have to do like a pros and cons. And it's a cover your butt sort of thing to say, yeah, over time the round dog hole could get chewed up a little bit just from pressure and things like that. And if you're using a metal dog hole like the ones Lee Valley does, like the bench pups and bench dogs, those things, maybe it could get chewed up over time. I don't really think it's that much of a concern, though. I wouldn't really worry about it too much. I think you'll be fine. A lot of those round accessories have spring-loaded elements to them as well that apply a lot of pressure to the side. So even if the hole just gets like, by a very small amount larger, a millimeter or something, you probably still have enough play and tension in that device that it's going to work just fine. So I've said since building this bench that while the square dog holes were cool, and it's kind of a cool traditional element, there's so many accessories out there relying on a 3/4 inch dog hole that you're just better off with round dog holes, and it makes the project go a little bit faster. So you don't have to do that dog hole strip.
Billy McFord says, "Taste the food, not the fuel." Do you know that? Do you know that reference?
I don't know that reference. I mean, it makes sense to me. I understand it, but I don't know what it's from.
Yeah.
It sounds like a charcoal, or no, it sounds like maybe a propane ad.
Yeah. Maybe.
Is that Hank Hill?
I think that's right.
I don't even watch that show, but I know he's a big. I know the whole thing about propane. So,
Connell says live roaches are the bond that keeps Trentonians united.
Yeah. You're telling me. I also had a friend named Cockroach when I was younger.
Did you?
No, that's the joke, Nicole.
Okay.
Okay, so Brian Thorpe says, I'm looking to get a good block plane and was thinking about the Veritas Skewed block plane, but it's a little over 6 inches long. Is that a normal size for a block plane? Would you have any other suggestions? Well, here is my Veritas non-skewed version, and it is also over 6 inches from the very back to the tip.
You're gonna poke me in the eye with that thing.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just close your eyes. That's why God gave you eyelids. 7 inches long. So that is pretty standard. All you're really looking at is a skewed blade. That's the primary difference with that one. Okay, Mike Davies. How many jigs and or fixtures do you have that you keep making quickly for a single cup project? How do you decide whether to put the time into making a good one to keep versus tacking, something together quick and throwing it out after? Well, Mike, the thing is with the way I do things, I often remake jigs for the sake of instruction, right? So if in, let's say, a guild project 10 years ago, I made a tapering jig and it was so good that I kept it around. I go to use it again in the future, I can't just say, hey, go look at that other video. It's like, that's already in a guild video that's kind of hidden behind that the price. So I often wind up remaking jigs, especially if it's like a simple tapering jig or some kind of bandsaw jig or something, or like a box joint jig. These are things that I kind of make up on the fly, only because I want to show people who are watching that particular project go together. I want to show them how to make that. So I do have some templates and a few jigs here and there, kind of sporadically throughout the shop, but I don't often reuse them because I feel the need to make these things all the time. There are exceptions. If like I do a full video on this new tapering jig that we're working on, which actually we should be doing soon, I'm going to encourage people to build that tapering jig, and then I'm going to start using it because it's a free resource. They can actually go see that video for free, build it, and catch up. So,
I got a question here from Scott K, Mark, and Nicole. Are you guys going to pick up Death Stranding. Oh, this should have been an after show question.
Yep, it should have.
We'll talk about it in the after show.
I'm going to say no.
No, because it's on PS4. Plain D Woodworks. When are you going to do a watch party for the bed?
Probably. Do we put it up on the schedule yet?
I haven't put it on the schedule yet.
Thursday, I think we said. Yeah, Thursday night. We'll do one.
This Thursday? Coming Thursday?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
But not yesterday.
Okay.
So yeah,
Because
Thursday.
we're going camping.
Sure.
Not that night.
No.
Okay.
I got my last question here
okay.
from Patreon. Ray Gilmore says,
Ray! I sent him some masks.
Cool. After buying around 10 WoodWhisperer Guild projects, I've finally gotten what I believe is the right equipment for cutting material that I need. Let's see, I've made a router table, I have a hybrid table saw, a bandsaw, oscillating spindle sander, a planer, and have finessing hand tools for most cuts. One thing I don't have is a jointer. I'm no Shannon. I don't intend to hand flatten boards if I don't have to. In your opinion, is something like the Grizzly 6-inch benchtop jointer, it's got a helical cutter head, is that good enough for most guild projects? I realize I'm not going to joint bed rails with this thing, but will it handle most of the projects in your opinion? And would it be better to save the $450 and buy an 8-inch floor standing model after saving for about a year? That's a tough call because I always want people to make the decision that gets them woodworking sooner, right? Because you could resell this stuff later. And a lot of times, especially if it's fairly new, you can get a lot of your value back, right? So if you use it for 6 to 8 months and then sell it and get 90% of your investment back that you could then put towards something bigger and better, to me, that's a good trade-off. I actually think that's a good deal. So I'm going to give you kind of a half-hearted recommendation to just get the tool now so that you can start working with it. Yes, even though it's a benchtop, you know, you'll probably be able to do a good portion of things. It's just the really big projects are the ones that are going to be kind of tough. And while I don't love benchtop jointers, I love more people building stuff, right? So I would say, you know, if you're really anxious and you want to get moving, get that benchtop jointer, learn a lot about it. And here's the good thing. After working with it for 6 months, you'll know its limitations. And then when you get that bigger jointer, you're going to really know a lot more about what you want out of a jointer. So hopefully you could sell it in the used market and then put that money toward something bigger, newer, better.
Bigger, faster,
stronger, better, meatier. Okay,
Was
I
that
got
your
one.
last one. I thought that was the last one.
Yeah, that is my last one. But I want to show you guys something here real quick. Not this square, not this block plan.
Not this book.
Not this book. I already showed you that. Just real quick, our friends at Titebond.
Oh yeah.
And while this is not exactly, I mean, they didn't ask us to do an ad.
Yeah.
I am promoting this
They are
product for
they're
them.
a sponsor.
They are a sponsor. This gallon of white, delicious glue.
It's so white.
It's so white, and there's so much of it, Nicole. This was given to me as part of our agreement.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a new product they want you to know about. It's their Titebond Speed Set Wood Glue. You got about a 15-minute clamping time. All right, most of their other glues, you're looking at about 30 minutes of clamping time.
So it's a little faster.
Definitely faster. A lot of people, when Quick and Thick came out, you know what that is, right?
Your nickname.
That's correct. When Quick and Thick came out, everybody's like, oh, this is cool. It's if you don't want to use CA glue to hold something together, you want a little bit more of a quality bond, but you have a few extra minutes to spare, something like Quick and Thick is pretty good. This stuff is great for molding. It's great for craft projects. I think if there's a negative to it, it is actually the thickness.
Oh.
It's so thick sometimes you have trouble getting it out the nozzle. It gets clogged easily. But you can definitely put a bead on a vertical surface and it's not going to drip. Anyway, so this has its advantages. But I guess a lot of people were like, hey, this is great. Can I get something that's a thinner viscosity so that I could spread it like regular wood glue but still get the same quick, tack up time? And that's what this is, right? So this is their speed set stuff. I've used it on a couple of jigs. That's honestly, that's the thing I'm going to use it the most on is when I want to put a jig together. I don't trust CA glue necessarily. I want a good, standard wood glue that's going to bond a little bit better long term. But I want this jig to be usable like within the day.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I'm going to use for that.
Nice.
All right. So Titebond Speed Set, something we wanted to let you guys know is a little arrow in your quiver of wood glues.
Yeah, it just came out, right?
Not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
All right. That's all the questions I have.
I have questions.
Okay. Let's do a couple more and finish up.
Many questions.
It's almost 10 o'clock.
We got a question here from Keith. Keith, what are brindle joints good for bed frame?
Hold up. Brindle?
Brindle?
Bridle.
That's brindle is horse, right?
I think it's a coat.
A brindle,
pattern.
A brindle
Coat, color and pattern, I believe.
No, I thought the brindle was like the little bit they put in the mouth.
Also, that is a bridle.
Bridle.
Which is actually the word you should have said.
Are bridle joints good for
words? Are one of the funnest things about being married to Nicole. In her world, words are different than they are in our world.
Don't make fun of my learning disability.
Sure, let's call it that. Let's go with that.
Are bridle joints good for bed frame over legs if short sides are glued?
Sure.
A long end and long ends have slat screws in.
Yeah, I would need to see a visual on this to know exactly what you're talking about, but I just did a bed frame, and we're talking like the platform horizontal frame that the mattress sits on. I just made one of those, and I used half lap joints, which are a step below bridle joints in terms of strength. So I'm assuming we're talking about the same thing. If that's the case, absolutely. Bridle joints would be perfectly fine for something like that.
I just got an email from a company that we've been working with for, I think, a year now, called Paper Cup.
Okay.
If you or someone you know speaks Spanish, not all, but a lot of our videos have now been dubbed.
Yeah, they're doing every day. I get almost
Yes.
every day. I get a notification about a new one.
Yeah, so I created a playlist on the WoodWhisperer YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's called WoodWhisperer Español. And I just kind of put all the videos in there. And they're going through them pretty fast, but I think it's
especially if you don't speak Spanish,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
it kind of is.
But it's only funny for a few minutes.
Yes.
The best is when there are other people on the show that have a speaking, a speaking
They
segment.
did Phillips.
So you got Philip in there. There's probably times where you're in there,
Yep.
and they actually will get a female to dub it, like overdub the voice. It's for what it is. It's incredibly well done.
It's really well done.
And for like native Spanish speakers who have trouble following our videos, it's kind of cool.
It's very cool. So yeah, check out WoodWhisperer Español. Yeah, I think if you just search WoodWhisperer Español. It's funny because I'm glad we worked with them on this because I get copyright infringements all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
We have to say, no, it's fine.
It's fine.
We know it. We know about it. It's fine.
yeah.
I actually missed a question from Ken Coyle. He says, I love the new slat back platform bed, and my wife wants me to build it for our guest room. But we have a question. I realize it's a platform bed, but it seems like the mattress might slide around on the platform. We don't know what our guests will be doing in there. Is there anything about the design that keeps the mattress from shifting? Is this something you consider when designing and building it, or am I harboring unreasonable concerns? Well, Ken, I think this depends on the weight of the mattress. Not all mattresses are created equal, but typically a big king-size bed, even a queen-size bed, is pretty friggin' heavy. My mom has one of those, what are they, foam, right? The ones that come in a smaller box and then they blow up, they plump when you cook them.
The tough and turf or
Something
whatever.
tooth and tough. Missed opportunity for a sponsorship there, right? YouTubers love to be sponsored by bed companies.
Yeah, we've had a few.
And we've turned them down every time. So this particular one is really, really heavy. That ain't going anywhere, right? One thing that I did, the frame is like 1 inch high, okay? And then the material that I'm using to support the mattress is 3/4 of an inch. So that actually leaves a 1/4 inch lip. So to some extent, the bed at the middle will kind of sag down. So you do have that little ridge all the way around that can kind of help keep a mattress from sliding around. This is really, again, I just don't think it's that big of an issue. If you have a regular, decent quality mattress, they're going to be pretty heavy. If it does become a problem, there's no wood allowance for this. I haven't really done anything to prevent it. What I would probably do is get some heavy duty Velcro, and I would probably put some Velcro down on the bed and then have the other side of the Velcro, to the bottom of the mattress. And it's already heavy, but put that on there and I really don't think you're gonna have a problem. You might have a problem getting the mattress off at that point. So yeah, that's my last question.
Did you get Adrian's question?
Adrian! No.
It would have been, in the Patreon.
I got questions early this morning, so I may have missed a bunch.
So Adrian says, happy 4th of July weekend.
Oh, well, happy 4th of July to you
I
as
can't
well.
believe it's July. What?
This
in my
year-
head, I still think it's March.
This is a crazy, crazy year.
I'm going to be building building uppers for our new kitchen.
You want to eat a book of the pepper tonight? All right, sorry.
But have only built drawers 30. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just reread this.
All I can say is it's because she's got a sense of humor. Our relationship would have gone nowhere.
It's the only reason why I like you.
If I couldn't make fun of her for
see.
things.
Yeah. If you didn't make me laugh, and you're lucky I can laugh at
She
myself.
goes, I love insults. Let's get married.
I'm going to be building uppers for a new kitchen. You're so silly.
Okay.
And this is where somebody's going to write, he's so mean to her.
He's mean to her. Why does she stay with him?
Our new kitchen, but have only built drawers, 33 of them for the lowers. I have never built a door before. What wood type, plywood, hardwood, would you suggest? They are European frameless types. So basically will be 1x2 with a rabbet to hold the glass inside.
Did he say painting at all?
He didn't say anything about painting.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Frameless, you know, a lot of times with frameless, you want that clean, flat look, but you're doing a frame with a panel. You could go either way, honestly. I favor solid wood, you know, unless there's a really good, compelling reason.
Just don't film it when you paint it.
Yeah, if you do paint it, don't film it. Don't put it on YouTube.
Oh,
it will be the bane of your existence, especially if it gains a little traction
Yeah.
and people outside of your circle start to see this video. It's going to be like a living hell, actually. But all I can say is I'm so glad that after the first 24 hours, I stopped reading YouTube comments.
I know.
Because it is a crap hole,
So,
Nicole. So, I mean, you've got choices. I think I might want to see more stylistically about the kitchen and what all the other pieces look like before making a judgment call. But I think you can have a justification for doing both. But if you're doing a frame and you're putting glass in that frame, I wouldn't use plywood for that. I would definitely urge you to go more toward solid wood. Poplar is not a bad option if you're doing something that's going to be painted. And certainly any other wood species, if you're going with a clear finish, you know, use the species you guys want to see all the time.
There you go.
There you go.
Got a couple super chats. We got one from, I just had it on my, there you go. SG. Said, good day, Spags. Hope you're doing well. Please, Nicole, you're rocking the red hair. Stay safe and cheers. It was never meant to be red. That's the problem I have with it. It was supposed to be blonde.
It's autumn sunrise. Apo Apina has a question. Do you have any great arguments for persuading old veteran woodworkers to check the guild?
We do have a military discount.
You could say, look at that guy. He has gray hair too. You could listen to him, right? I need a bigger beard, though.
Yeah,
I
we
definitely
do
need a full
military
beard.
discounts.
You know, I don't know. This is hard for me to say because it feels awkward to like brag about ourselves.
But you'll do just fine.
One of the best pieces of feedback that I get from woodworkers is when someone writes and says, "I've been woodworking for 30 years, but I still learn something from every video of yours." You know, even if it's just a little trick that I've never heard before, never seen before. That's the best piece of feedback that I can get. I love when I hear that. So there is some value even for people who have, you know, extensive amounts of experience. That said, this isn't going to convince them of anything because it's a little insulting. But if you have a lot of woodworking experience, it doesn't mean that you actually have been doing good things for 30 years. You could have bad experience or just continually repeat bad habits. So, you know, personally, as a lifelong student, I always like to learn. Anytime I take a class, I try to shut my brain off from everything that I've learned before and not sort of prejudge what this instructor is trying to tell me. I want to live within their world for the time in that class. And that's one of the things that bugs me is when a fellow student is like, hey, how come you're not doing it this way? And it's like, stop it. Just let this person take you through their, I mean, it may be a legitimate question, but ultimately, if you're coming in with, oh, I already know how to do that, you're not going to get as much out of the class, you know?
Yeah.
So I think with the guild, it's kind of like that. We have a number of instructors, very different personalities, different skill sets, that take you through this journey, the story of building a piece of furniture. And if they're open-minded and open to new ideas and potentially learning from someone who's younger than them, there's a little bit of an ego thing. Sometimes people aren't capable of learning from younger people. That could be problematic. You might not be able to change that. But ultimately, if they're looking to expand their horizons and learn more, I think the guild is a great place for them to do
I
that.
gotta take care of Ava.
There
You
is
got
a
question.
Yeah, I don't go for too long because I'm almost done here.
Well, you need to answer these questions.
Yep. Mateo's saying stupid to me. He's joking me.
Grandma, come back.
Yeah, where's Grandma? All right, Ava. Ava, Mom's coming. Chill, yo. Kids. We did a live guild meeting last week. We started, we hit the button, we went live. Not 2 seconds later, Ava's doing what she did right now, freaking out about something. So Nicole goes in to take care of it. But when she goes in, she forgets to close the door. Garage door is open. I see Dougie, and it's like a standoff. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and I know by the time I get there, he's gonna bolt out the door. Sure enough, that's what he did. So I didn't even have time to explain what I was doing. I took my mic off, I ran, chasing the dog down, and the people like on the live stream are just sitting around going, what the heck is going on over there? It was probably the worst start to a live, sorry about the microphone, the worst start to a live session we've ever had. So let me see if I can get a question here. Kevin Sims says, I'm wondering where you source your spindles. What's your recommendation for general purpose spindle grit? What are we talking about, Kevin? Oscillating spindle sander? So if we're talking about the same thing, the spindles themselves, the big rubber blocks, those obviously you don't buy new ones, you change the sandpaper only. So the spindle sleeves, I just get them from Amazon, and since I have a Jet spindle sander, I get the same brand. I stick with Jet on that. If you're talking about something else related to spindles, I'm not sure what you might be referring to.
I'll see if he's talking in the chat here.
Obviously there's different spindles for different things.
Guess what I gave Ava to calm her down?
A candy bar.
Cheetos at 10 a.m.
Close enough.
Like,
hey,
here.
We jeopardize our children's health for you guys. Okay, we do it for you.
You want some Cheetos? Here you go, hon.
Mm-hmm. Here's the whole bag.
Was that Kevin Sims?
Kevin Sims
that you did?
Yep.
I'll monitor the chat here, see if he says anything. Ray Gilmore did a super chat and said, for the great answer and morning coffee. Here's to you, Ray. Thank you.
Yeah. Someone says, James says, 2 words, shock collar. I can't do the shock collar thing. I mean, I know I don't want to bring up what might be a sort of divisive subject, but I have tried in training a shock collar, and all it took was, even on the lightest setting, seeing Millie yelp and react to it was, I couldn't bear it.
Every dog is different.
Sure.
So Millie is just a timid dog.
Dougie would probably just be like there's a fly on him.
What? It wouldn't even faze Dougie.
Yeah. But we live with their quirks without electrical shocks.
Yeah.
That's just how we roll.
Craig Chagrin Hammond says, here's $5 to offset the redubbing. That's amazing that you make the content more accessible to others. Thank you for your super chat. We're not paying for it.
It's not at our expense. So this company, Paper Cup, is that what they're called?
Paper Cup.
They should have a sister company called Paper Napkins. So they actually are a company that is dedicated to doing this process, taking one language and converting to another language. But it's a partnership.
And it was a leap of faith on our part to say...
Because at first we're like, you want to do what with our videos?
You want to do what?
And what they actually do is it's a revenue share for the AdSense revenue.
We have yet to get any revenue.
So it's working out great, guys.
But I looked at it as more as the service.
Well, it's just like doing closed captions.
Yeah.
It's something we want to do to make our stuff accessible to as many people as possible. Yeah. And the idea is, as it builds up, the library builds up, the views build up, if there's any AdSense revenue that comes in, it winds up being split. But they're doing all the work, and we have already invested the work to make the video. They're just kind of doing the work afterwards. It's at their expense.
Judy Grass, thank you so much for your super chat. She said the hair color looks good on you, Nicole.
There you go.
Thanks.
See, I told you.
No, you didn't. You never once said it looked good. You just made fun of me and said it looks red.
Damn, maybe what'd you do to your hair? All right. What else we got?
Let me just make sure. I had a bunch of pulled conversation or questions over here. So we talked about the watch party next week. Paul Towski said the guys from This Old House made an end grain cutting board out of pine. What are your thoughts on using softwoods for cutting boards?
I mean, some softwoods, depending if they're on the higher scale of rigidity and hardness, yeah. But pine, outside of building a cutting board,
it's very porous, right?
Well, it can be porous, but it's also kind of sappy depending on the
if
cut.
You cut on it,
but not all pine's created equal. There are different types of pine. But I would have to say, just speaking very generically, and certainly not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but if I had to rank on a list of species to use in cutting boards,
Pine would be,
I don't even think pine would be on the list.
Pine would not be fine.
Pine is not fine in that situation. But that said, you know what? People may make pine cutting boards. Maybe they got a particular, southern yellow pine is actually
board.
a charcuterie board.
A charcuterie board.
Southern yellow pine is something that I think if you live like in the southeast, that's something you have accessible fairly easily. Can be a pretty durable material. But yeah, for a cutting board, I personally wouldn't do that. But
Apina says pine is actually very antibacterial.
Well, a lot of woods are antibacterial.
Okay.
Most of them generally have an antibacterial property to them. But I just don't want a soft, sappy wood as a cutting board. That said, if it's working for them, who cares? They're doing it. I just wouldn't do that.
Nate wants to know, do we have any of the planer brackets left? We
No.
don't.
Haven't had them for a long time.
We
stopped
stopped
producing
making them.
Yeah, one thing we realized is like manufacture of products is not our forte.
So anytime you see us do something like that, and you're maybe I should get you should do it.
You should do it
immediately
because they may not be there in 6 months.
They may not be there later.
That's what happened with the taps, right?
It's a limited run. Well, the taps are now under MLCS.
Well, someone else could take the planer brackets if they want them.
Hey, Mitch, are you watching?
You want some planer brackets, Mitch?
Planer blacker?
We'll get. Well, it's not even ours to give at this point. It's Andy's.
Andy's. I feel like it's been a while since I've talked to Mitch too.
What else we got?
Let's see, we got another question here from, that's Nate. Nigel and Donna. Hi, Mark. You got a new compressor a couple years ago, but you use a Fuji HVLP sprayer. What size tank would you recommend I get for spraying and general use in my woodworking? Any other recommendations?
I don't know. I've never used HVLP for spraying. I always have a turbine. Part of the reason was when I started out, I would do a lot of jobs on location, and if I needed to spray on location, it was just easier to take a self-contained unit like an HVLP. So that's why I was able to downsize. I hesitate to give you a number on this because you got two things. You have the CFMs, the amount of air and pressure that this thing can generate. That's one factor. But you also have to look at like continuous delivery of air pressure. So if you have a small tank, then you have to constantly cycle, right? And that's not a good thing. Like my little compressor here, I don't think I would want to spray with that. I had an opportunity to do some sandblasting when I restored this barbecue, and I didn't even try it just because I knew this thing would have trouble keeping up. So capacity and pressure are the two things you're looking at. The bigger the tank, the longer you'll be able to go before that compressor has to kick in and start refilling the tank or repressurizing the tank. So look into what the CFM requirements are for the HVLP gun or the conversion gun that you're using. Make sure that you satisfy the minimum and then maybe go a little bit higher than that. But off the top of my head, I can't give you a gallon size because I don't follow that world very closely enough to give you an accurate number.
What size is yours?
That little baby down there?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a little hot dog deal.
And
it's pretty small.
You really like it. It's the
it's quiet.
The California air compressor.
But I'm using it to blow dust off my shirt, to blow dust off of projects, and to fire the occasional brad nail. I'm not asking much of that compressor.
Pachoo.
Chat room, guaranteed. You guys tell him what to use for compressor size gallon if you spray, right? What's the minimum he can get away with? And usually the good thing is once you get to that minimum gallon size, its actual CFM rating is usually going to be enough to do what you need it to do.
John GTI is living in Tucson and wants to know how critical is it to keep my shop temperature controlled? It's expensive to cool all the time. Is it okay to cool when I'm in there or when movement is a concern?
Don't worry too much. You're in Tucson. Your movement issue is not so much heat as it is moisture during monsoon.
Yeah.
That might be a time when it might not be a bad idea to keep the space conditioned because you'll be able to pull some of that humidity out of the air as well. But I don't think you have to be too concerned about the temperature. What I used to do is until I had, efficient cooling, well, no, even when I had the really efficient cooling in there, I was too cheap to just let it run all the time. If you remember that, I would always let it heat up and then I would turn the air conditioner on and cool it down.
Didn't you read something like it's better just to keep it at a constant temperature versus on, off, on,
I
off?
think if you have a reasonably insulated space, once you cool it down, to my understanding, guys, gals, correct me if I'm wrong on this, conventional wisdom says that it's cheaper to continue to maintain that temperature than to let it heat up and then cool it down and have all these spikes.
Yeah, it's
right?
harder to heat.
So it doesn't have to work as hard, even though it's running all the time. If you are in your shop every day, I would say keep it on. Don't worry about turning it off. I think you're far better off. If you're only going in there maybe 2 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, that might be the point where I would think, okay, it probably makes sense to turn this thing off, then turn it back on a couple hours before I go in, and then start working.
David in the chat room said, tell him solar.
Solar what?
Solar, like electrical.
Oh, like to get solar?
To get solar.
Yeah, that's a process though.
That is a process.
That's a whole
and
thing.
It can be expensive. Like, it just depends.
Depending on what you get.
Because they'll come out and they'll do a test. And
I think in Arizona, though, when we did solar in Arizona, we were able to get our full bill covered. We looked at solar here, and just the way our house is situated and the roof line and everything, we weren't able to get enough panels on there to really offset the bill enough to make it worthwhile.
Right, yeah. So Kevin Sims said, thanks, Mark. Yes, I was referring to the jet spindle sander, but was limited by 150 characters.
Okay, understood. Understood.
All right.
Let's see her. Nicholas Weber says, I'm going to start the blanket chest soon. I love that project.
Yep.
Is Rubio Monocoat Mahogany a good replacement for the spray dye used in the video?
It is. If you want to look at the, let's see, we made a, what do we call it? Entry bench for Jason?
Yes.
So there's a green and green entry bench project on the free site. We used mahogany colored Rubio for that. And I actually do think that is a good substitute. Take a look at the color, watch the video, you'll be able to judge for yourself. There are some differences with it. It's not exactly the same color, but it's pretty darn good. And for like a single coat system like that, it's definitely worth looking into. If I were making this thing again today, that's probably what I would use.
That what you did with the entry bench?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, you know what I might even do? The thing with the mahogany, it's very red. It's a very strong red color. I might even take a little bit of their walnut Rubio, if you happen to have them both, maybe do a little mix. 75% of the mahogany and then 25% of the walnut, darken it up a little bit. You could play around with these things if you want. But go look at that video. You'll know by the end of it whether that's the color you want.
And finally, last question from Nigel and Donna again. He said that I see SketchUp is changing their licensing and moving completely to online only.
Yeah.
Is this going to change your approach to projects with online only SketchUp available for free viewing?
No, not in the near future. We talked about this on the latest Wood Talk.
Oh yeah.
Was it the Q&A show or was it the week before? Either the show we just released on Wednesday or the show prior to that. We had somebody, it is this most recent show in the feed on Wood Talk. Sorry, jeez, my brain today. Go listen to that. We have this exact question. Someone asked about what we're doing now that SketchUp is changing these things. This, the writing's been on the wall for a long time. SketchUp Make 2017 was the only desktop version that people could get that was still free. It was very clear that they were not intending on updating that forever. So if they're moving to an online-only system, I don't see a reason for us to change anytime soon. SketchUp files are not a requirement for projects. For the longest time, people have been distributing PDFs only for plans. That's all you need to get the project done. A 3D model is like, yeah, that's nice to have, but it's not an absolute requirement. So if we still make the model available and you need to use the viewer to, it's still free, you could still look at the SketchUp. The ability to modify that SketchUp does now apparently require some kind of subscription or some sort of a paid thing. Like a SketchUp 2017, SketchUp Make 2017 just isn't going to work anymore. So yeah, at least in the meantime, I don't feel the need to jump ship to a different system because our service is not to provide editable 3D files. Our service is to teach people how to build a piece of furniture, give them the measurements they need to do it. So switching over to something like Fusion 360, maybe that is something in the future that we could do, but it's actually a big deal for us to switch to that internally. I'm not well versed in it, so I would have to learn something new. I don't know that I necessarily see the need to do that just yet.
Mm-hmm. Were you going to pick a winner for the bed project?
I can't pick one. You pick one.
Oh, I'm supposed to pick one.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you always pick.
I have my winner of the Patreon, Ray. Ray won that. So Ray Gilmore, you won the Guild project. You can select anyone. And I'm going to pick from the questions that we received. Let's see. Hey, Nigel and Donna, you're going to win.
There you go.
The bed project that's coming out next Friday. So Nigel or Donna, I don't know, email me, Nicole@thewoodwhisperer.com, and I'll get you set up in the Guild with this bed project.
Yep.
You know what? I love the fact that we have closed captioning on it before anyone sees it.
That's cool.
We're doing some different stuff with it, so it's kind of neat.
And another thing, when we're talking about, a lot of people are making comments about Fusion 360. I think Fusion 360 is the better program, certainly. What it's capable of doing, what you can do with the output of the files, it is free to use for non-commercial purposes. But there are still concerns, right? I don't know what Fusion 360 is up to. I don't know what their rules are or when they might decide to change their licensing. Guess what? The reason SketchUp is as popular as it is or was is twofold. Number one, it was free for a long time. Then things changed. So this thing about Fusion 360 being free for non-commercial use doesn't mean it's always going to be free. We could switch to that and have the same problem in a few years. It's not about the modeling. It's about building a project. That's the most important thing for us. The other reason SketchUp was popular is because I think for the average person who has zero CAD experience, they can open up SketchUp and kind of wrap their head around what's going on there. Fusion 360 has a steeper learning curve, and if you have CAD experience, you might find it a little bit more approachable, but for someone without CAD experience, it's not that easy. So I actually don't think Fusion 360 is going to catch on to the level that it did with SketchUp. So I think the only reason we started providing SketchUp files was because so many people were using the program. So I mean, as we get more general makers and more people who may just from their career have some CAD experience, there may be a higher percentage of people who can do that, but I don't think we're ever going to see the penetration that we saw with SketchUp. It's still, Fusion 360 is very intimidating. SketchUp is intimidating to a lot of people. It's a little bit more approachable. So, but again, just to reiterate, our plans, our obligation is to teach you how to build a piece of furniture. Giving you a file that you can manipulate and change and do things with is a little bit of a bonus, but I don't see it as a requirement.
Okay.
Anyway, enough about that.
Enough
Are we
about
done?
that. I think we're done. I'm going to put a link to the after show in the chat. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can come and hang out with us in the after show. We're just going to answer random, sometimes not woodworking related questions. So
yeah, most of the time
one
not.
of the questions we got, I got it emailed to me a while back. Wants to know how we met. So we can talk about that on the after show.
Oh, a little teaser. Nicely done, Nicole. Good job. All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody.
Yeah,
and
thanks
we
for hanging
will
out.
catch you next week.
Bye.
Toodles.